we've got steps 1, 2, 3, and 4 complete on the chassis. So we got our center bracey thingies in there, side rails, whatever the heck you call them. All of that, and these little geebles in there, and our torsion rods in. Bottom battery tray mount in. Everything's looking pretty good. So step 5 is building a drive shaft, then we're off to the rear ends, and here we go. 11, we got bag A done, all the way up to step 11. We got our rear ends built, front and the back rear ends built. You got to watch your angles. You got to put these guys on it. I think the front is what? The front is 15 degrees and the back is 25 degrees. That'll tip your axles up a little tiny bit there so the drive shafts line up nice and straight. And what else is going on? So we did that. Pretty good. Pretty easy going so far. Lots of screws. Actually, lots and lots of screws. But we'll put the chassis aside. The only issue that I really had was the little pin screw here that you put into the rear end to lock it out, to make it a locker, because right now it's an open diff. There's a little grub screw that goes into the back of the rear end housing, and I don't know if you can see that little grub screw there. So you take the set screw, the grub screw out of that, slide this dude in there and tighten them up. If you tighten it all the way up, it torques up enough pressure in there that it knocks the alignment out and everything binds and nothing runs free. Right now it's running free and smooth as butter. All very good. But this here little guy, you put him in and tighten him all the way up, no good, too much stress. If you leave it backed out so it's flush and just sitting in there loose, that's fine, but it's just sitting in there loose. So even if you put Loctite on it, I wouldn't trust that. You need the clamping force to kind of activate the Loctite. So without the clamping force, I wouldn't trust that. So you could probably glue it in there, but the idea of this is not permanent. You can pull that little grub screw out of your housing, access this little screw bolt thing here, and then lock it up or unlock it, depending on if you're going crawling or if you're going trail driving. So I haven't quite figured that out yet. So I left mine out, play safety, because I don't want it to come loose and scrape against the housing and do damage, or actually fall right out, which I don't think it can. I think it would scrape against the housing, go through the gears, cause damage. Anyway, either way, there's lots of damage. So I don't trust that sitting in there loose. Maybe there's a better way to keep it in there so that you're confident in it. I'm not, so I left mine out. So they're open diffs for now. When the hop-up part comes, the only bad thing is I got to undo everything to get it, to separate it, to put that in, lock it up. And then we know it's good. So we'll see about that, if I actually get around to doing that or not. But anyway, that's the only quirk of the whole thing. Yeah, so we got our steering knuckles on, got our lower spring mounts on. Both rear ends are ready to go. So everything's looking good. We got our bag B screws all opened and laid out here. And so bag B is steps 12 to 15. Looks like we're going to check the RC equipment, build all the steering servo linkage, attach the steering servo bed and all of that. And step boop. Attaching the rear tie rods is step 15, and that'll take care of that. And your option is 4-wheel steering. So I'm going to build it where we just lock out the steering on the back. Maybe later on we'll go ahead and stick another servo back in there, but I don't know. But that'll be our project for now. Let's carry on building Tamiya, and I'll bring you back if we come across anything that's an issue or something I'm struggling with or whatever. So, okay. All right, we got bag B done. Bag B, what's bag B? Set up a receiver, set up a radio gear, center a servo, install the servo, and all the what you call them there. Install the servo and the steering links. Okay, so we got all that done. And steering links onto the back one. We attached it, so we got it all locked out here. So that's bag B. So we're cruising right along. Everything's looking pretty good. So now we're going to do bag C. And bag C looks like springs, shocks, shock oil, bunch of little rods. What is it? Attaching the axle housing. We're going to actually put the axles onto the chassis and build some shocks. So yay! Carrying right along. Let's get building Tamiya and do bag C. All right, so we got bag C done. Bag C is installing the springs, putting a horseshoe clamp on to hold the springs in, building the shock absorbers and installing the shock absorbers, and building the little drag links and that tire torsion rod together there. So, and installing them. So that's where we are on the chassis so far. Looking pretty good. Tamiya. And then we start bag D. Bag D is going to take us from 21 to 32 steps. Starts off building the drive shaft, then the planetary, install the motor, install that whole mess into the chassis. Be awesome. Carry on, sailor. Catch you when we get something else done. Okay, we've finished the CR01 chassis. Got a radio gear put in. Got everything all tied down. Running the Fly Sky radio. A Hobby Wing 1080. ESC in there. Little foam patties there. Pads underneath to hold the body up so the body pins don't scrape. I don't know what else to say. Build went really well. I really enjoyed this build. It's different. It's yeah, it was just a heck of a lot of fun. I went ahead and put the little pins through the drive shaft there to lock up the rear ends. So now it's full four-wheel drive, both ends. It's the Tamiya way. Instructions say to put it in, so we'll put it in. We'll see if it blows up and comes loose and does a bunch of damage or not. But so I usually build totally stock box out of the kit, just to enjoy the whole Tamiya experience right from start to finish. And we'll find out what breaks. We'll find the weak points on our own. On all of these kits, there's all kinds of videos and everything. Guys have done this or changed that or put this hop up in, and that's all great. But I like to find out what breaks for myself and then fix it hopefully better and see how it goes. But anyway, there's my CR01 chassis. Quite excited to take it out for a run. So let's grab a body or two and see what we find. Speaking of bodies, I got the Toyota body. I haven't even cut it out yet, and definitely haven't started painting it yet. I'm an artist. You know, I have to be in the mood to be creative, so I'm just not in the mood, so I'm not going to play around with it right now, so that's just going to have to come at a later time. So what I went ahead and did instead, whoa, is I took the Defender body off of the CC. I took the Defender body off of the CC01 chassis, which body posts line up, fits right on there, just sweet. I had to notch the bumper on the body just a little tiny bit for the mounts for this big bumper, and just trimmed the little tiniest bit off of the fenders back here. Other than that, it fits on there just fine. I think it looks all right. And it's already painted, so it doesn't hurt my creative block right now. And there. So let's take this guy outside and see if he'll climb over a pebble. And yeah, come on, let's go. Hey, here we are today. We got the Defender body on the CR01 chassis, and first run, maiden voyage. Let's see how it goes. I put the little pins into the rear ends and locked up the back and locked up the front. So hope for the best, and here we go. And I got nothing. Okay, so I think we finally got all our stuff sorted out. It was just my transmitter not set properly. Pro tip, always go through all your checks and make sure you've got everything set. But I think we're ready to run now. So let's chuck her on the ground and give it a try. All right, so it actually moves. It's a good thing.